They don't make noise. They don't cast shadows. And they don't blink. High above the battlefield, beyond the range of radar and missiles, the eyes of war are always open. This is a new high ground. Space. And in sea power, this just became part of the fight. The spy satellite mod adds real-time reconnaissance from orbit. Well, sea power's approximation of it. Imaging satellites now sweep the oceans, tracking fleets, spotting movements, and tipping the balance before the first shot can even be fired. They are untouchable. They're unseen. And with their high-resolution optics, as well as their surface search radar, these satellites bring a new kind of pressure to everybody below. There is no hiding anymore. Welcome to modern warfare, where the sky is no longer the limit. It is the new front line. Spy satellites and sea power. This is an interesting concept. I just don't really like the way that it's implemented. Here's why. The situation as I have it is a small test scenario. And over here you can see the satellite. Over here on the map you can see the satellites basically in the GIUK gap. With this satellite, I intend to gather intel so that a B2 Spirit, not part of vanilla, but this is another mod, so that this Spirit can strike in order to find the target without giving its own radar position away. So, I have a spy satellite looking for trouble. And in order to look for trouble, this thing has a few different sensors at its disposal. What we have is a visual sensor, which has a pretty good nighttime quality as well, so it works in night vision just as well as in daytime. They also get access to satellite ELINT, which I think is what we're using right now, unless it's senior glass, which is another electronic support measure. You can see that we can cover pretty much all of the detected bands, and we're already at 1100 miles detecting the EM emissions of whatever 7001 is. So with that level of range, you can basically do without any other kind of detection. I know, it's a satellite, that's kind of what it's supposed to do, right? This satellite is supposed to be up there and show you what is going on the battlefield. They don't carry any weapons. They don't have the opportunity to strike in any way, shape, or form. They don't attract missiles. They don't have a countermeasure. But supposedly the AI doesn't even know how to shoot these things because they're flying at 24,000 knots at an altitude of 95,000 feet. There's nothing that can touch this thing. So the AI seemingly doesn't even bother. The thing is, I think right now it's a little too good. And you can just see that even at 900 nautical miles, and of course at 1125 before, you can very, very quickly detect multiple contacts. Right now I'm just detecting their emissions, so I'm not even seeing them yet. If I turn my radar on, I get an expanded search radius, which covers another 270 nautical miles. I'm not sure if that means I can see everything within 270 nautical miles of this satellite, because that would be a lot. But it is definitely possible that you'll basically just vacuum up any intel below you using that radar. And there's no real punishment for using this radar either. Because, like, what's going to touch you? Normally, if you have a surveillance aircraft, you have an IL-38, you have an E-3, something like that, that radiates. It says, hey, here I am. And it's a valuable target. It can get shot down. The spy satellite can't. And that means there's no penalty to using radar. Just keep it on at all times, because, well, why wouldn't you? You can just keep this thing on, get more intel, and with that, very quickly, get a sweep of the battlefield. Of course, for scenarios such as this, it's pretty interesting, because this B2 Spirit is loaded out with 16 LRASMs, which have a range of 500 nautical miles, so I don't really need to get closer than 500 miles within enemy strike range, which means that they are pretty much entirely, well, impotent. They can't do anything against this bird. They can't see the satellite. They can't shoot the satellite. They cannot engage the attacker. They got nothing. They got absolutely nothing. And I'd say this is just way beyond the scope of the game. This, in my opinion, that is, and of course it's a single-player game. It's your game. Play it as you see fit. I don't like it. Look at that. Blip. Hello. Everybody's been detected. Just like that. That's the radar. The moment that I picked up everything within 270 nautical miles, boom. Radar got it. If I turn this off, and this is something that you can do, you can just get them on visual. You can just fly over these things, and you can get them on visual. Of course, some of these contacts are going to disappear, because I no longer have my radar active. But this is just... It's not for me, this mod. It's not for me. Also, Sea Power doesn't really know how to work with these things, because they're considered aircraft. Now, yes, you can use, for example, the reaction control satellite, or reaction control system on a satellite to change its course. But that typically costs a lot of fuel, and that's just one thing. You can't exactly change your orbit on a whim. This thing can. If I wish to, I can turn around and fly right over this formation. Now, I've played Kerbal Space Program. That's about my understanding of satellites. You are not able to just turn a satellite around and have it go the opposite direction. Look at that, I'm spotting everything with visual. Oh, they're trying to shoot me. That's cute. This thing has a top speed of 3,850 knots. I'm passing by at 24,000. Like, good luck with that. Then again, I'm using Next Threat Upgrade as well as the Pack Lethality mod. But still, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Anyway, this satellite and this is just taunting the Soviets. And considering that they actually shoot it, I guess you could make it worse. I guess you could make it worse. This thing can quite literally run circles around a task force. Yep, they're trying it again. This is not possible. This is not how these things are supposed to work. Ooh, you're getting fairly close. Shame if I stuck around. But unfortunately for you, I have absolutely no intention of doing that. Because I can make these turns at an incredible speed. And there's not much you can do to stop me. I'm flying around at Mach 10. Good luck trying to intercept me. Height, you can change that from 95k to 99k. That's it. There's no other levels. Of course, once you have this information, I can now tell my B2, hey dude, you got targets over there. You need to close the distance a bit more, and then we can strike. And all the while, this satellite's just merrily flying around. I get what the mod is trying to do. I get how you could use it. Look at that. I even have visual identification on these things. I know exactly what ship it is. Because I can basically tell right top down what ship it is. I know what the mod's trying to do. I appreciate the effort of getting this thing into the game. But the way that Sea Power works, the scope of Sea Power, I say it just doesn't work for this game. It just does not work for this game. So this is one mod that you can experiment with. You can put it in a scenario. You can use it as a sort of, well, magical eye from the sky that you can use to detect everything. I don't see a role for it in this game. I really don't see a particular role for this thing. Look at that. It keeps trying. It's cute. I'm 10 times faster. You're never going to catch me. So this is one of those mods that I did want to show you because it has gotten quite popular on the workshop, so I thought it deserved some attention. At the same time, like, are you really going to use this thing? I rather doubt it. Whereas, for example, the B2 Spirit, yeah, that's something I would potentially use in a scenario because I just love this bird, but that's not really the scope of this video. So the satellites, I'm gonna give them a pass. If you want to give them a go, have a look down below in the description where you can find a link to the Steam Workshop page for this thing. It doesn't require anything special, so just subscribe and you should be able to get these things in-game. You can find them listed under aircraft. The US have them, the Russians have their own versions. They basically do the same thing. And as far as I know, there is no weapon capable of stopping these things. If you'd give them to the AI, I think the AI doesn't know what to do with them. Oh, also, important note, supposedly, these things don't know how to fly over the international date line, so they will just kind of collide with it. Let's see if I can get to that point. Because supposedly they just don't do anything there. Weapon away. Alright, they just don't do anything there because the world in sea power is not round. I guess when it comes to sea power, the flat earth theorists have it right, and the world is in fact flat. Which means that if you want to fly, yeah. If you want to fly to the other side of the date line, the satellite just turned around again. Right here it heads east. And if I switch it to the other side of the date line, it just decides to turn west. Oh well. Anyway, that's the spy satellite. It is glitching all over the place. It's doing all sorts of weird things. I'm gonna give it a miss, but let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments, and I look forward to seeing your suggestions. Thanks for watching, and enjoying your spying.